boat, and gati means direction. So driving a boat is called a navigation. If you go through the scientific definition, then it is navigation is an art and science of charting a course or craft from one point to the another point while being on the craft. So
ये तो पता चलेगा सुनने के बाद मेरे को भी क्या सुनाएंगे देते ना देखो ना आपके से डाला मैंने
सर पुलकित सर सबको वो कर दो, म्यूट कर दो.
जस्ट अ मिनट.
योगेश को अनम्यूट कर दो, वो म्यूट है.
या जस्ट अ मिनट.
योगेश अनम्यूट कर लो.
जस्ट अ मिनट.
Okay, it is unmute now, I think.
Yeah, audible, sir.
So earlier people were crossing the vast oceans using the observations from celestial body. But the technology of 20th century has placed artificial star in the sky, and these artificial star known as a satellite transmit very extraordinary signal, and this extraordinary radio signal provides more information than what we got from the celestial body. Today you can have a very cheaper GPS receiver or any GNSS receiver along with a map, and you will not lost anywhere in the world. Or you can purchase a very expensive receiver with a careful analysis of measurement, and you would even tell that the earth under your feet has moved few mm. Okay, next.
It will take some time.
Okay, fine. So this slide is showing you the position determination evolution. During the 14th and 16th century, people were not having a very good clock, but they were having an idea about the shape and the size of the earth. They were knowing that the earth is spherical, and in order to define any position of a point on the earth, they can define using so many degree away north or south from the equator, and so many degree east and west from the meridian. So during the 14th century, they were not having much knowledge about the longitude, because they were not having precise clocks. So they have chosen the group of the people have chosen one meridian as a reference meridian, and with respect to that, they have started the measurement of the longitude. But latitude they were able to measure because there was a natural equator, and two poles are equidistant from that equator. So they were using simple celestial observation for computing the latitude. Then in 15th century, this depth reckoning tools has came, which determine the distance from the departure point along with the direction. Then later in 17th to 18th century, the development of clock has started. In 16th century, one of the scientists, Huygens, he has developed one clock which was losing 1 second in 24 hours. Then John Harrison in 1784, he has developed one pendulum-based clock which was losing 1 second in 1 month. Then later, in 20th century, the more development happened in the area of the clock, and today we have a cesium clock, rubidium clock, and hydrogen measure clock, which have a stability of 10 raised to power of the order of 10 raised to power minus 15 and accuracy of 10 raised to power minus 14. Before the World War, some radio terrestrial based navigation system were developed like radar, lunar, omega, and other system. But after the World War II, scientists and engineers decided to have a continuous positioning method. So they first they have made a satellite based navigation system which is known as a transit, which was working on Doppler based positioning method, and it was but it was not continuous. Then they have thought about the GPS, and today GPS is a continuous navigation system. Okay, next. Okay, this figure is defining the concept of the latitude and longitude. Latitude is measured with respect to the equator. So both the poles are equidistant from the latitude, and they are at the at 90-degree angle. Whereas longitude, because we do not have any natural line, so one of the meridian was chosen as a reference meridian, and with respect to that reference meridian, longitude is measured. Okay, next. Okay. So this is showing the type of the navigation. First one is a celestial navigation, which depends upon the observation from the celestial body. So during 14th to 17th century, this celestial based navigation system was used. Then inertial navigation system has came in 19th century, where with the help of the sensors like gyroscope, accelerometer, they have got the navigation. Then in 20th century, radio-based navigation system has came into the picture. Before World War II, the terrestrial radio navigation system has come into the picture, like lunar, radar, and Omega. And after World War II, satellite-based navigation system has came into the picture. And today we have a GPS of US, GLONASS of Russia, and Galileo of Europe, and IRNSS of India as a satellite-based navigation system. Now, what is the drawback of the satellite-based navigation system? That signal are very weak, so it can be easily jammed, and it can be affected by the interference. And what are the drawbacks of the inertial-based navigation system? They are not affected by the jamming, they are not affected by the interference, but they have a accumulation of error as the time passes. So there is another type of the navigation system, which is an integrated navigation system, combination of both satellite-based navigation system and inertial navigation system. So in integrated navigation system, in case of jamming and in case of interference, we can use the inertial-based navigation system. And when there is no jamming and no interference, we can use satellite-based navigation system in order to reset the error in the sensor. So in our launch vehicle, we are using this integrated navigation system. In our satellites, we are using this integrated navigation system. Okay, next. Okay, this slide is showing how to design a satellite-based navigation system. First of all, a question arises whether our system should be active or whether our system should be passive. Active system means a user will interact with the satellite. User will send a signal to the satellite, and then satellite will send the information to the user. But because this satellite-based navigation system was designed for the military purpose also, so and military doesn't want to lose their location by sending a signal towards the satellite. So passive system is chosen for the satellite-based navigation system. Then positioning method. So in terrestrial-based navigation system, Doppler or hyperbolic positioning system was used. But in case of GPS, this trilateration was used. So a user will compute the distance from the satellite, and based on those distance and based on the satellite position, user will compute his position. That method is called trilateration. So this we will discuss later. Then what should be the signal? Signal should be pulse or signal should be continuous. So they have chosen a means spread spectrum signal, where means different PRN code is allotted to the different satellites, and all satellites transmit a signal at the same frequency at the same time. That is called CDMA type of the signal. So, and what should be the carrier frequency? So during 1980, when the GPS was developed, at the time VHF and UHF band was very populated, and with the success of transit, they have seen that the most of the error in a position is because of the ionosphere. So they have come to the L band, because L band was not populated at that time. So they have decided to choose L band, and L band is also called a navigation band. And ionospheric error was also lower in L band. But nowadays L band also become more populated. So in our own navigation system, we have gone for the S band. And now means other navigation system like Galileo and other navigation system, they are going for the C band because more populated signal in a L band. Now, what should be the constellation for the satellite? So there are three constellations. First of all, low Earth orbit, which is at the height of 1,000 kilometer, then MEO, medium Earth orbit, which is at the height of 20,000 kilometer, and GEO, which is at the height of 36,000 kilometer. So for the transit, they have chosen LEO satellite. So LEO orbit, sorry. So for the LEO orbit, in order to have a global coverage, we require 200 to 300 number of the satellites, and those satellites will be visible for 5 minutes to 10 minutes. So receiver, functioning of receiver will become more difficult, or design of the receiver will become more challenging if we choose LEO orbit. However, the launching cost will be less in a LEO orbit. But in case of MEO orbit, we can get a global coverage with the help of 30 to 40 number of the satellites, and we can, however, launching cost will slightly increase, but the global coverage can be achieved with the help of lesser number of the satellites, and better geometry of the satellites can be achieved for the user if we choose the MEO orbit. Then GEO orbit launching cost will get increased. We cannot get a better geometry of the satellites, and also while we are going for the global coverage. But if we have chosen for the regional coverage like our IRNSS, we can go for the GEO orbit. It means in order to prove ourselves in the field of the navigation, we can choose the GEO orbit. Okay, next. So this slide is showing different global constellation. Currently, the global constellation are GPS. GPS is the first global navigation system. So currently, there are, I think nowadays there are 29 operational satellites. In GLONASS, they were using FDMA technique earlier, but now they are shifting towards the CDMA technique. And currently they have 21 to 24 satellites as operational, and 3 satellites are under the maintenance. Galileo have a 17 to 20 satellites in orbit as operational satellites in orbit. BeiDou is a Chinese-based navigation system. Earlier they were having a regional network which was having 15 satellites. Means 5 satellite in a GEO orbit, 5 satellite in a GSO orbit, and 5 satellite in a MEO orbit. Now they are going for the global coverage, and they have claimed that they will achieve a global coverage by 2020. Currently, they have a 41 number of the satellite, out of which 20 to means 25 to 30 satellites are in a MEO orbit. Then there are some regional constellations. They serve for a particular country, like QZSS is of Japan. They have a 3 satellites and 1 spare satellite. So this QZSS is interoperable with the GPS. Means any receiver which receive the QZSS signal, that can receive also the GPS signal. And they have chosen a very different type of the orbit, which is called tundra orbit. It is very highly elliptical orbit. And then IRNSS is India's own regional navigation system. It has 7 satellites for a primary service area. So earlier we were having a plan to have a 3 GEO and 4 GSO, but later we have seen that GEO will have a problem, certain problems. So all GEOs, inclination of 5 degree was given for all GEO. So now they are GSO. So we have 3 GSO and 4 inclined GSO, which have an inclination of 29 degree. Then there are certain space-based augmentation systems. These augmentation systems, actually the global like GPS and regional navigation system, they provide a signal, but they do not provide the integrity. But certain applications like civil aviation, they want an integrity, they want a time of alarm. They want alarm within a 6 seconds in case of any failure. And they want an integrity information whether I can use a system or not. So that is not fulfilled by these global constellations or regional constellations. So for the civil aviation purpose, this space-based augmentation system was developed, where wide area satellite-based augmentation system WAS is of America, MSAS is for Japan, and IGNOS is for Europe, and SDMC is for Russia, and Gagan is for India. So we will discuss about the Gagan later. So it is developed by the ISRO and Airport Authority of India. Okay, next. Okay, let's have a silent features about the NAVSTAR GPS. NAVSTAR stands for Navigation Satellite timing and ranging. GPS stand for Global Positioning System. So it was developed by US Department of Space. It was made operational in 1995. It is a satellite-based navigation system, and it is designed to provide position and timing information on 24 by 7 basis under any weather condition and anywhere in India. It provides position and time. So there are three segments of GPS. One is a space segment, then ground segment, and then the user segment. So all the navigation system have these three segments. Okay, next. So this is showing the three segments of GPS. So space segment is a constellation of constellation of 24 satellites. Then control segment is a network of monitoring station, master control station, and uplink station, which maintains the health and orbit of the satellite. And user segment is a user, which is civilian and the military. Okay, next. So in space segment of GPS, there are 24 satellites. 24 satellites. Currently, we have they have 29 satellites. Some of the satellites are working as a spare. So orbital period is approximately 12 hour. Actually, it is 11 hour 58 minute, one half of the sidereal day, and altitude is 20,200 kilometer. And there are 6 orbital planes. All orbital planes are inclined at 55 degree of inclination, and each orbital plane should have minimum 4 satellites. All the satellites are allotted a unique PRN code, and they transmit information on that unique PRN code. All the satellites are equipped with onboard atomic clock. So means here all the satellites were having 4 cesium clock. Now they have changed configuration, and now each satellites have a 3 cesium clock, out of which 2 works on a prime basis and 1 works on a hot standby basis. Next. So this is showing the constellation of a GPS satellite and a user on the Earth, and it is showing the visible satellite for the user on the Earth. And this is showing the orbital plane. So in each orbital plane, the satellites.
हेलो पुलकित सर, अनम्यूट करना। योगेश, अनम्यूट कर दो खुद को। हेलो योगेश, अनम्यूट कर दो खुद को। हेलो
पुलकित सर, अनम्यूट कर दो योगेश जी को।
Okay.
एक क्वेश्चन आया है।
हाँ।
सबसे पहले ये एटॉमिक जो क्लॉक है उसको एक्सप्लेन कर सकते हो, क्या होता है थोड़ा सा?
Yeah, actually, it works on the means property of the atoms. Like suppose there is a cesium clock, so it works on the property of the cesium atom. Like cesium atom oscillates. I think 9 means certain is the oscillation period of the cesium clock. Based on that oscillation period, these clocks works. Means based on those oscillation period, the signals like 10 megahertz and other signals are generated.
And so why we use atomic clocks?
Yeah, actually atomic clock are very stable. They have a stability of, like cesium clock, they have a stability of 10 raised to the power minus 14. So suppose means actually means there is a requirement of a stable clock at the satellite as well as at the user end. But because user cannot afford these type of a stable clock, so means this satellite provide the information to the user to have a to get a timing accuracy which is equivalent to the atomic clock.
Arvind sir,
एक और क्वेश्चन आया है, नाविक हैविंग पोजीशन एक्यूरेसी ऑफ 5 to 20 मीटर, सिमिलरली जीपीएस हैव लेस देन 20 मीटर एक्यूरेसी, सो व्हिच इज बेटर, नाविक और जीपीएस?
Okay, that we will discuss later.
अरविंद सर सेशन एंड हो सकता है अभी 5 to 10 मिनट्स में विद इन, तो प्लीज ऑल पार्टिसिपेंट से रिक्वेस्ट है कि सेम लॉगिन आईडी से आप रीजॉइन कर लीजिएगा सेशन को। ओके
योगेश, तुम भी जो अभी मैंने मतलब जो लिंक भेजा उसमें फिर से क्लिक करना तो फिर से रिजॉइन हो जाएगा सेशन, ठीक है?
अच्छा,
ओके
ठीक है,
कंटिन्यू सर।
ओके, नाउ कंटिन्यू, नेक्स्ट।
हाँ, next. Okay, now the control segment. So in control segment, there is a network of the monitoring station and master control station. So master control station is connected with all the monitoring station, and master control is the heart of the control segment. So what are the works of the control segment? They monitor the satellite orbit, they maintain the satellite health, and in case of any failure, they put a alarm. They put a satellite in a standby, or they put an alarm so that user will not use the satellite information. And they maintain the GPS time, means they maintain the GPS time. Then the control segment computes the satellite ephemeris and clock parameter, and those computed satellite ephemeris and clock parameter is uploaded to the satellite using uplink station. And sometime master control station does the maneuvering in order to bring the satellite to in the orbit, in the predefined orbit, or in order to relocate the satellite to compensate the failure. Okay, so the GPS have 2 master control station and around 15 number of the monitoring station all over the world. Next. Okay, the user are military and the civilian, and GPS is providing navigation and positioning application on land, sea, and air, and in space. Okay, next. Now, how GPS work? So actually, the receiver will receive the signal from the satellite, and whenever the satellite transmit a signal, it will put a transmit stamp on that signal. Whenever the receiver will receive the signal, it will put a receiving stamp on the signal. Then based on that transmit time and receive time, the receiver will compute the distance from the satellite, and then receiver will do the trilateration in order to determine the position of the user. Next. So the next slide will define how the GPS receiver will work. So user will receive the signal from the GPS receiver, and it will do the correlation like acquisition and tracking, and it will find out the transmit time. Then based on the transmit time and receive time, next. Yeah, based on the transmit time, receiver will compute the range, and based on and it will decode the satellite data and get the position of the satellite, and satellite clock error. Then next. Then receiver will do the trilateration and find out its own position. Next. Okay, now what is a trilateration? Suppose a user is at a black point, and user receives a signal from the satellite, and user computes compute the distance from the satellite. So right now we are assuming that the receiver and satellite clocks are synchronized with each other. Yeah, this one. Receiver and satellite clock are synchronized with each other. So we are discussing about a 2D problem. So user can be anywhere inside the circle having a radius which is a distance, of user and the satellite. Then next. Now user will get a signal from the another satellite, and user will compute the range, and another circle from the another satellite will intersect the first circle at 2 points. So user can be anywhere at these 2 points. Then next. Now from third satellite, the range obtained from the circle we have got from the third satellite intersect at a single point. So that will be the location of the user, and this is the concept of the trilateration. But this we have explained in a 2D, but actually everything happens in a 3D. Next. So in a 3D, user will compute the range, and user can be anywhere in a sphere having a radius which is equivalent to the range from the satellite and the receiver. Then next, the
Sir,
now another sphere from the another satellite will intersect the first sphere, and it will form a circle. Next.
Okay. Yogesh, our session is going to end in 1 minute.
Yeah.
So you can come
Okay.
by clicking on same link I have shared you. So we will start it on second session. Okay.
Okay.
You can now continue. Just less than 1 minute is. So session can be ended
Okay.
at any time.
Okay. Next.
You
Am
can
I
continue,
audible?
but